So it's been pretty much almost exactly a year since I put these stainless screwdrivers outside for an environmental test. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how these are doing. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe off any just dirt or anything that's gathered on the shafts here so we can get a better look at them. So look at here at the shaft on the Wera unit, and you see some, looks like just a little bit of some kind of spotting. It almost looks like water, just water staining. That's happening here on the shaft, but I'm not seeing any signs of rust or corrosion at all. It's looking pretty good for this guy. So that's a whole year outside and no noticeable rust. On the other hand, you look here at the Felo stainless driver and it's not looking very good for it at all. So we can kind of see some of this, some of it coming off, but that's looking like a pretty rusted shaft there. It's worse in some spots than others, but you can kind of see in here. And you look here at the tip, and it looks like it's the worst right there. So not looking too good for that guy. So I think that they've actually discontinued these. Hopefully I wasn't the only reason that happened, but they have not been performing up to what I would expect them to perform for marketed as a stainless driver. I'm not seeing any pitting yet or anything like that. It's just basically looks pretty discolored. So you look here at this is one of the controls, and this was, remember, a brand new screwdriver that had never been used. I'm hoping that's showing up on there, but there's definitely some rust spots in there. The chrome is already gone in several places. So looking at it from a slightly different angle, you can see right in here there's some rust spots. And then down on the tip there you can see some rust as well. So here's the Harbor Freight Torx drive, and as you can see, this chrome looks to be in much worse condition than the control. Originally this one looked like it was doing pretty well, but over the winter, I guess those freeze-thaw cycles is causing some of the chrome to chip away. And you can start to see some rust spots right in here. Looking at the handles here on the control, the UV has really destroyed that black plastic. You see all these little cracks, micro cracks. That's all from UV exposure. Plus the fading up here. This used to be like a dark blue. Looking at the handle on our other control, it's really held up pretty well. It looks like it's just basically kind of faded and kind of discolored. This used to be clear, and it's kind of has like an amber type color to it now. And these things were really a dark red before, and now they're almost white because they're so faded. So this style seems to be holding up pretty well to UV, other than the discoloration. So you look here at the Felo one. This rubber is still very pliable and soft. It feels like it may have gotten a little bit harder, but the UV is definitely not degrading it. And I think these marks right here were from a bird that was trying to eat this material. So there must be some kind of maybe a soy-based additive to there that they like eating. And it's not seeing a lot of fading up here. We'll have to compare that to one of the other ones when we finally take these off. But that's looking pretty good there. And then we look at the Wera one. Again, I'm not seeing any damage. It looks like the black is starting to fade a little bit from the sun. It's not as dark up here. And so this is actually facing due south, almost directly due south. So the sun's going to be hitting this side more. So when we do eventually take these off, we can look at the back, and that'll give us a good idea of how much the UV has actually faded the material. But basically it's just dirty, just from pollution. I think that's what that is right there. So I bought a whole set of Hazet stainless tools, and separately from that I bought a single socket because I want to do some environmental tests with this guy. So these are from the 850X product line, and they have a whole set of sockets and ratchets that are stainless. So if you look at it closely here, they're marked with the inox, which means stainless. So these would not be chrome plated, I'm guessing. So they would have had to have been polished after they were forged. Since I still have the stainless screwdrivers outside, I figured I would put these on the board. And I was able to find a 11 millimeter that I haven't actually used before. This is a Chinese made one from one of those El Cheapo ratchet sets, and this one, literally it's been sitting in a toolbox for over 10 years and it's already rusting. So it's not looking good for this guy. So that'll be a good control if you want to observe the condition of it beforehand. So what I'm going to do, I got these M6 stainless bolts. I'm just going to bolt it through one of the holes on that board. And yeah, I know it's going to be touching the aluminum, so there will be some kind of galvanic corrosion. I'm not going to use any type of anti-seize or anything, so we'll just have to keep that in mind when we watch the watch it corrode. Hopefully this is coming out, but it looks like there's some kind of black liquid that has dried down in there. I guess that's part of their finishing process for these, but that's kind of unusual. So I'm also noticing that this this edge right in here, it looks like it has some burrs on it. Like they need to deburr that edge a little bit better. But other than that, the finish on this looks pretty good. So we'll have to see if they actually did due diligence in polishing this, because that looks like what it was the problem with the Felo drivers, was there were some contaminants on it, and that's what actually was rusting, not the actual metal. But as you know, if you get contaminants on stainless, that actually causes the stainless to corrode. And that's part of the reason why they make these stainless tools, is so you don't transfer, corroded material. If you use this on a regular steel bolt and there's rust that gets in here, you don't want to transfer that to a stainless head, because that'll accelerate the corrosion on that stainless fastener. So the whole theory is if you exclusively use these for stainless, the chances of getting any type of contaminants transferred over is reduced greatly. So really these are only for people who use exclusively stainless fasteners. So people work in marine or aviation industry might have a use for these, but there's no reason why you can't use these on regular fasteners. It just means you need to decontaminate it, really, if you want to get that advantage. So again, I'm attaching this with stainless steel hardware. So I'm not going to leave that on there very tight. Hopefully that'll help prevent some of the galvanic corrosion that's going to occur on this aluminum contact right here. So I'm putting on the control here on the other side. We'll leave that one a little bit loose too. So we'll check up on these in a little bit. So one more thing to note. This is a 304 stainless wood screw right here, and that hasn't rusted yet. So that's another control I can use for these. Alright, so we'll check up on these in a little bit, but that's going to wrap it for this one, and I'll catch you guys next time.